What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back with some more Resident Evil 4 Remake gameplay for you. And today I wanted to talk about a topic that has become very relevant recently in the past few weeks for gaming, as well as something I feel like in the Resident Evil fandom really takes for granted with the Resident Evil franchise. As you obviously know, I love the Resident Evil franchise to death. But there's something about it that I feel like a lot of Resident Evil fans really take for granted that they don't give enough credit for, and it's very relevant for what's going on in gaming. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, let's get straight to the point. One thing, and I'm not saying that there isn't examples of it, trust me, there's no such thing as perfect, but one thing I'll safely say in my experience, and I can only speak from my experience, but I don't remember any like major moments, but one thing I've never known the Resident Evil franchise to be, regardless if you like all the games or not, but in terms of the major Resident Evil releases, I don't think I've ever gotten a Resident Evil game the day it's come out and had problems with it performing, working, or it's broken, or it gets to that point where you're just thinking, why is this thing released? Like, why didn't they just delay it or push it back? Like, this is a broken release. And I don't think I've ever had any one of those things happen to me in a Resident Evil game. And in the era of, like, and we can have updates and stuff, so I've been getting Resident Evil games when they came out, basically since Resident Evil 5, but I've never had one where I'm just like, man, this is broken, it doesn't work. Even if you don't particularly like the games have always been very, well-made, well-done games. They work, and that's sad we got to go to that thing, oh, does it work? But sadly, that's not the case with a lot of games today, as unfortunately, in the last few weeks, you've had a lot of examples, not just in the last few weeks, but last few years. It seems like it happens more often than not, but obviously we knew the whole big debacle with Redfall, unfortunately, and it looked like a cool game at first look, but unfortunately it was everything but, and it was just basically, a lot of people have dubbed it the next Fallout 76, and that's not something you want to be compared to. And it's just sad because it gave me that feel of like vampires, or maybe a little mix of Borderlands and stuff, and with the studio behind it, you think, man, this would be awesome, but anything but. And another one, which is a good game, but once again, it's just like, why didn't they just hold it off a little bit to fix some of these performance problems, would be the latest Star Wars game, and that looks cool as hell, and a lot of people have admitted, like, it's a good game, but it's just the performance is holding it back. And with that one, you probably think that stuff will get fixed over time, but it just begs the question, why not just hold off on it so you don't get all that negative publicity, and just, keep it for maybe, if they just held off for about a month, you wouldn't have a lot of this stuff, because, there are always going to be fixes and stuff like that. But that's the problem, is just like, you get to these studios and developers, and they have these games, and I'll be able to ask, well, why are they releasing these games so unfinished and stuff? Like, how did they test them? And the sad answer is they probably know they're not finished, but unfortunately, when your publisher is saying, hey, you got to put it out when you got to put it out, you're kind of screwed either way. So a lot of this just goes down to the publishers, is force these games out when they're completely not ready at all. And I just don't understand the logic behind that, because at the end of the day, you want to make money, but I don't see how it's going to make money. Like for Redfall, they're not going to be making any money. A lot of people don't want to play that game even with the Game Pass, get it for free, let alone actually buying it. But it's just a sad state of affairs to think, man, this is what gaming is. But as I said, getting back to Resident Evil, I don't remember a Resident Evil game. Maybe there's a side game, but in terms of the major games, I don't ever remember a major game even nowhere near something. I've never had one ever in my life. I'm not saying it doesn't exist, or someone didn't have a bad experience, because, it is what it is. Sometimes you trigger certain things, but in terms of it overall just performing and working, they've all always performed and worked well. And for a franchise that's been around for as long as it has, it's pretty amazing to be that consistent, that good. But it just begs the question, it just gets really frustrating. And it's why a lot of people ask the question, why are we paying like $70 for full price games, and half of them are broken and don't work at launch, and we're basically a bunch of guinea pigs testing it out, and you get the promise, oh, they're going to fix it. It's like, I don't buy a brand new car to have it like work 75% of the time. I buy it so it's always working, and you get the occasional bug or two, but that's not what it is. It's always funny to me when you have those day one patches, which are not a problem. I'm glad they do have things like that, But it's just sad when you see the patch on day one. It's just as big as the game itself, and it's just like, man, you can have like these massive gigabyte-sized games where it's like you're basically downloading 3 games for the price of 1, but not in a good way either, just in terms of how much space you're using or your storage. And I'm just always wondering why is this happening? And as I said, from a publisher standpoint, I don't see how they're making money. They're just losing money. Take your time. If you finish the game and it works and it's well done and it's a good game, and people are going to come back and play it and support it, but releasing like how they did with Redfall and the Star Wars game, that was another bigger example, would be like Cyberpunk and whatnot. And then you have these same people come out there with apology letters. It's like, you know what you were doing. You know exactly what you're doing. It's just, I don't know what you were thinking, but that's another question. What I find funny is like you take a game like Dead Island 2, and this game, a lot of us thought was never going to exist at all, period. It was just going to be a game that was in developmental hell. I believe 2014 was when it was revealed, and it went through so many different studios. I just thought, hey, it's just going to be one of those games that just never comes to fruition, but eventually it does. And the crazy part is, I would probably pay money, like, I would bet money if you had to tell me between the releases that a game like this would probably have most of the developmental problems of it not working, but ironically enough, it's the exact opposite. It actually works fine and plays well, and I think the sad part is, I think this is a really good game, but more people are just like putting this in the background, and more people just want to talk about all the negative stuff of like the new Star Wars game not performing well, or Redfall just being an abomination. And it's just like, we have more talk time for all the negative stuff, not the games that do perform well and are actually fun as crap. And that's just the amazing part to me. But that's just goes to show you, the more you know, the more you don't know. But as a gamer, it's really frustrating, because at the end of the day, we all want to play good, fun games, and it's just sad. That's why I had made a video about a few months back saying, are games really worth that $70 price tag? And a lot of them just sadly are not. And granted, everyone has different ways of having fun in games, and everyone's different. But when you have these games where you're just like, man, why is this being released? Like what are we thinking? It's just a sad state of affairs. It's probably why Resident Evil is one of my all-time favorite franchises, just because I know what I'm getting. Even if it might be a little bit different sometimes, I know what I'm going to get. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to play it to completion, and I'm going to have a good time regardless. And it's something that I've always come to expect, and I've yet to be disappointed by that aspect. And here with Dead Island 2, a game that, I'll be honest with you, a lot of people probably thought this wasn't probably going to be too great. It's definitely superior to the original one. It does improve on it, and it's just really a solid game that you can play it. Having all these problems, not that there aren't glitches and stuff. Trust me, I can tell you numerous glitches, but most of them are just for fun, entertainment purposes, not like actually hindering you of playing the game. But you just get things like Redfall, you just wonder, damn, how much money has been thrown down the drain, and it's just a sad state of affairs. But that's my opinion. I want to hear what your guys' opinions are. Are you a lifelong Resident Evil fan? Do you ever remember having like a legit bad experience? And what I mean by that is not that you didn't like the game, but just in terms of the game not working or performing. And I know there's probably instances of it, but just overall from a grand scale perspective, I just don't remember one being where it's like, one of these moments where it's like a Fallout 76 or a Cyberpunk or now Redfall. It's just they've always been well put together games, and I think a lot of fans need to appreciate it a little bit more, because nowadays it seems like that's a harder thing to come by than ever. But that is going to be it. Let me know in the comment section, were you someone that was interested in some of these other games that came out and then they come out all faulty and broken, maybe need another month, or Redfall's case, maybe need another year? Let me know in the comment section down below. But hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully I can see you guys back on the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you all later. Peace.